Shedding Shackles is sponsored by Roland Trujillo.
Welcome to Shedding Shackles. Today's topic is Resentment Affects You. And now, here's your Shedding Shackles host, Roland Trujillo.
Hello, welcome to Shedding Shackles Radio. This program airs all over the country right now and in Canada. And I just want you to know that we have a listener call-in line. And you can call and leave a message or a question. And there's a good chance I'll answer it on the air. Today, I want to talk about resentment. Resentment is something that I've had to look at over and over and over again for the past 30 years. And today, I think I might be able to put it in terms that make it clearer to you why it's not a good thing. In the Bible, we are told, in the Old Testament, and also Christ told us that we are to love the Lord our God with all our mind, soul, and strength. With our whole being, in other words. We're to love the Lord our God with our entire being, with all our mind, all our emotions, all our aspirations, all our hopes, all our thoughts, all our feelings, with our entire being. And that's what we were created for. But right now, you don't love the Lord your God with everything. But I want you to see that if you resent someone, it affects your entire being. Let's say you're a wife and you resent your husband. You're constantly thinking about him, and pretty soon you resent everything that he does. The way he sits in the chair, the way he puts his socks on the floor, the way he sips his coffee, the way he does everything, you start to resent everything that he does. And then one day, maybe he starts to improve. He's an okay guy, but he's got some issue. So maybe now, all of a sudden, he starts to improve. You know what? You won't see it. Some women hate their husband so bad that when he actually gets better, they don't see it. And parents are the same with their kids. They look at their kids through the judgments of yesterday. Maybe the kid now is totally different. They don't see it. They're remembering what he did. And then they wait and wait and wait, and he's doing good, he's doing good, he's doing good, he's doing good. And then he makes one little mistake. And the parent says, I knew you were going to do that. You always do that, blah, 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 blah. See? They don't see the good. So, resentment. You end up resenting someone with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Your entire being. Do you understand now? So if you resent someone, then you resent them with your mind, your strength, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, your thoughts of the future, of the past. You resent them. Your resentment colors everything, and it colors every relationship. If you resent one person, then if you see another person that looks like that one, you resent him. You resent your dad, pretty soon you're resenting all men. So it colors everything. So pretty soon you can't accept the good anymore. You don't see the good, you can't accept the good in others, in yourself. That's what it does. And now, if you can't accept the good, remember I said like when you're really resentful, bummed out over something, somebody tries to cheer you up and you can't accept it. Joe, leave me alone. Joe, I said, leave me alone. So you can't accept it. Then something good happens, the sun is shining, you can't accept it. Doesn't make you happy. See, you resent the sun, you resent everything. You can't accept the good. And now, if you can't accept the good, and you can't see the good, your kids change, you don't see it. Your husband changes, you don't see it. If you can't accept the good, that means then that you can't accept God. Because He is good. He is the source of all good. And He is love. And He is kindness. And He is sweetness. And He is forgiveness. And He sees you as you are. You resent people when they see you all resentful. You resent them for seeing you that way. God sees you, so you resent Him. You cannot accept Him. Do you understand Now do you understand why Christ said if you hate your brother? How did he say that? I forget exactly how he said it. But if you hate your brother, then you can't love God. Or he said, if you don't forgive your brother, then God won't forgive you. See, when you're resentful, you can't accept forgiveness. So it makes you totally negative. I'm a man with a microphone, so people ask, no, I don't have a church. I do not have a church. I'm just a person, and I open my mouth and I talk. And if what I say strikes a responsive chord, then that's good. The meditation teaches you how to stand back. So get a little meditation. Take 3 meditations a day. First thing in the morning, around lunchtime, and then in the evening. And then just go about your life. And if you fail, then just see that you failed. You mess up, you say, I messed up. If you keep messing up, then just say, Lord, I keep messing up, and if anybody's gonna help me, it's gotta be you. So, what I want you to see is that when you resent, it's a package deal. Then it includes everything. Think back to when you really resented someone. First of all you could do is think about what they said to you or did to you, right? So it affected your thoughts. And with emotions, hurt feelings, unhappiness, anger, all the emotions were affected. And then you became nervous. You became tense, maybe even got sick. You were so filled with anger and rage and hate and resentment that it made you sick. See what I mean? And you couldn't function. Your thoughts were constantly thinking, why did she do that to me? Why did he do that to me? But there's more. When you resent, it's like a mindset. It's like a mindset. And an emotion set and an everything set. But I'll just use the term mindset. You can't accept the good. When you're resentful, you can't accept the good. Think back to some time when you were resentful, walking around resentful. Then maybe somebody tried to cheer you up. You couldn't accept it. Something good happened. You couldn't accept it. You became totally negative. When people were nice to you, you couldn't accept it. You refused it. Either you refused it because you didn't want anybody to be nice to you. You thought, I'm no good, and you rejected it. Or you were just resentful. If you resent someone, it affects every aspect of your being. Now, you can't love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength if you harbor resentment, because resentment colors every aspect of your being. When you resent another person or anything, especially another person, you resent them with your mind, with your emotions, with your feelings, with thoughts of the past, with thoughts of the future. You resent them with your body, with tension, with anger. You resent them with your hopes, your fears, your dreams, your aspirations. It affects every aspect of your being. Resentment does. And resentment then has come between you and God. Resentment has taken over your being, and there's no place left for God. And you know that's true, because when you're resentful, you can't accept the good. You can't accept sweetness. You can't accept forgiveness. You reject them. And so it dehumanizes you. It puts something between you and your Creator, even as something came undoubtedly between you and your Father. Something came between you and your Father. And something later came between you and other people in your life. And soon there was a wall between you and everyone. And this wall, this resentment, dehumanized you, because the human being was created in God's image and likeness to be a creature of love. Like a little child has a lot of love. You were meant to be a creature of love, and a creature of wisdom, and a creature of courage, and a creature of sweetness, and compassion, and long-suffering, and all the derivatives of wisdom and love. But they're all gone, all out the window, because of this wall of separation between you and your Creator. And into the void then come things from the dark side, negativity and dark thoughts. And so, if you wish to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and you have not been able to, you must look at this thing, resentment, and realize that it is resentment that makes you negative and causes you to reject the good and to hold off, to hold at arm's length your Creator and His forgiveness and His love and His compassion and His rest and His peace. You must find your Creator, and the way you find Him is to begin by looking at this thing, resentment, and letting it go. Let it go.
We teach the how of remaining patient and more forgiving. By learning the simple technique of how to remain centered and calm, you are pre-armed with mindfulness and can have a better relationship with your loved ones. To find out more, simply go to sheddingshackles.com and click on Meditation. That's sheddingshackles.com.
So, I think you get it now. If you resent a person, you resent them with your mind, soul, strength, and heart. You resent them with everything. It robs you of good. You can't accept the good. It separates you from God. You can't accept good or you can't accept God. So you have to start letting go of the resentments. But God hasn't left you without, He hasn't left you. He still has His divine revelation. In the inner light, you see your resentment and you see that it's wrong. And you also see you can't change yourself, but you just see that it's wrong. Maybe because you see the effect that it has on other people. Or you see now, all of a sudden now you realize they're lost sheep too. Even if they did you wrong, they didn't mean to do you wrong. Just like you don't. When you're resentful, you go around and you're rude to people, you don't even realize you're being rude to them. You're impatient with your kids, you don't even realize it. If you do realize it, you resent them for seeing that you're resentful. Do you understand? So you see that and you realize they couldn't help themselves any more than you can help yourself. So you let it go. You let it go. And then you know what? Forgiveness is there waiting for you. So it's all very beautiful. Now you understand why you have to let go of resentment.
Hi, this is Jeremiah Trujillo, the producer of Shedding Shackles. You too can learn the art of watching and remaining centered with the help of our free meditation. To learn more, visit sheddingshackles.com, sheddingshackles.net, or sheddingshackles.us and click on Meditation.
Shedding Shackles is sponsored by Roland Trujillo. Dedicated to helping people solve their stress issues and move forward to a life of joy and purpose. Shedding Shackles is sponsored by Roland Trujillo. Now do you understand why Christ said if you hate your brother? How did He say that? I forget exactly how He said it, but if you hate your brother, then you can't love God. Or He said, if you don't forgive your brother, then God won't forgive you. See, when you're resentful, you can't accept forgiveness. So it makes you totally negative. It makes your mind negative, your thoughts negative, your feelings negative, your body negative, your life negative. So it separates you from God, in other words. And then you cling to things. See, the other thing is that life is a continuous letting go process. Letting go by moving forward. Letting go by moving forward. But when you resent, you can't let it go. Or you won't let it go. See, you won't let it go, and then eventually you can't let it go. But you can let it go, but you won't. See, the one saving grace is that you can let go of it. You can simply see. See, it's divine revelation. The first thing God said was, let there be light. So that the universe, so his great creation, could be seen. So when it's time for you to begin to change for the better, if that time ever comes, and hopefully it will, if you can listen to my program, watch these videos, and you relate to them, then there's hope for you. When that time comes, you will see your resentment and what it is. You'll see it. You'll see that it's not good. You'll see that you need to let it go. You'll see why you need to let it go. So it's like a divine revelation, a private revelation to you from your Creator. He shows you your resentment. I've told this story many times, and I'm going to tell it again. There was a man. He was a very angry man. He was just angry all the time, which means he was resentful all the time. He was driving one day and some lady pulled in front of him. She cut in front of him with her car. And I don't think she meant to do it, but she just went in front of him, that's all. He became filled with rage. He pulled up beside her vehicle, and her little girl was sitting in the front seat beside her. And he rolled his window down, and their windows were rolled down. And he started screaming terrible things at that lady. And the little girl looked at him, and she burst into tears. And when he saw the little girl burst into tears, he was stricken. And he pulled his car over to a parking spot and parked at the side of the road and sat there and sobbed, great big sobs. Finally, he saw himself. He saw his resentment and his anger, what it was. And that was the beginning of change. It was the beginning. Then he saw other things that he had resented, and he saw why they're no good. And then he began to let the resentments go against people, against work, against his mom, against his dad, against other kids. He began to let it go. And when you let resentment go, then you know what? The memories of those incidents also go. You see the memory, you see where somebody did something to you, you see where you resented them, hated them. Now you see you don't hate them anymore. And then later one day you wake up and you don't even remember hardly anymore. The past, all those negative things, they fade away into insignificance as if they had never happened. So if you have a memory, a negative memory of something, chances are that resentment is sustaining it. So look for the resentment. This morning I went into Starbucks to get a coffee, and I did. Then I had my hands filled with items. I actually had a tray because I had a coffee and I had cream on the side and I had hot water. And so I had this tray filled with them. And then the entrance where this was early in the morning, where they usually want you to go out. I went over and pushed on the door. It wouldn't open. So I pushed with my back against the door. And it opened a little bit, but it wouldn't open. And I pushed harder and it wouldn't open. Finally, I gave up on it. And then I went out the front door where I had gone in. But then when I sat in my car, I felt a pain in my back. Then I did some other things. I did a little reading or something in the car. You know, with this COVID thing, they don't have indoor dining there, so I sat in the car. But But then I noticed I was looking in there and I was watching to see if other people went out that door. And then I was thinking about, the thought came to my mind, well, it's such a nice day. Now, what if I have a pain in my back all day? And then I started thinking, then I started looking to see if, I'm wondering why didn't they open that door? See what I mean? So it was becoming a memory. It was becoming a fixation. It was becoming something that was beginning to fill my mind. Instead of reading something nice or realizing, but I did realize, see, God didn't take that away from me. He allowed me to realize. And I sat there and I realized that that memory of having pushed on the door and it didn't open, that memory came about because of probably a little bit of resentment. That's right. So I have to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. So now do you understand? Love the Lord with all your mind, soul, strength, and heart. I don't always get it right, which is fine. I don't have it perfectly memorized, but you understand. I think the Khabouris manuscript, the beautiful, beautiful translation from the Aramaic, says with all your napsha, in other words, with all your self. Everything that includes yourself, your soul, your heart, your emotions, your feelings, everything. But if you resent somebody, then you resent them with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your feelings, with your tension, with thinking of the future, with vengeance, planning and scheming to get even. And you think of the past, what he said, what she did, with blame and with anger. See? It affects everything. And then you can't accept the good. When you become really resentful, you walk through the world, the sun is shining, you don't see it. The birds are singing, you don't hear it. Somebody's kind to you, you don't see it. Somebody does you wrong and you resent them. Somebody doesn't even do you wrong, but you just think they did, even though they didn't, and you resent them. It colors everything. So now you must learn to let go of resentment. You've got to let it go. I was watching a dart match between two players. One of them was actually quite good. He's been world champion. He's from England. And then there's another one, a young guy that's really good. Well, they were playing, but the young guy was super exuberant, and he was jumping around and waving his arms and shouting, and the crowd was cheering whenever he would get a good score, like he'd throw 3 triple 20s or something. And he would do fist pumps and egg the crowd on, and they were crowding. And the other player, the one who's really, really good, who had been world champion, he became resentful. Then I saw him throwing his darts, but his mind wasn't totally there. His mind was clouded with resentment of this other person. And then the other person, after he got his darts, walked past him a little too close and accidentally touched his sleeve or something. And the resentful one who had been world champion, and he pushed the guy away. And so what do you suppose happened? Of course, he lost. He lost because resentment. Resentment robbed him even of his skill. So I think you get it now. If you resent a person, you resent them with your mind, soul, strength, and heart. You resent them with everything. It robs you of good. You can't accept the good. It separates you from God. You can't accept good or you can't accept God. So you have to start letting go of the resentments. But God hasn't left you without. He hasn't left you. He still has his divine revelation. In the inner light, you see your resentment and you see that it's wrong. And you also see you can't change yourself, but you just see that it's wrong. Maybe because you see the effect that it has on other people. Or you see now, all of a sudden now you realize they're lost sheep too. Even if they did you wrong, they didn't mean to do you wrong. Just like you do. When you're resentful, you go around and you're rude to people, you don't even realize you're being rude to them. You're impatient with your kids, you don't even realize it. If you do realize it, you resent them for seeing that you're resentful. Do you understand? So you see that and you realize they couldn't help themselves any more than you can help yourself. So you let it go. You let it go. And then you know what? Forgiveness is there, waiting for you. So it's all very beautiful. Now you understand why you have to let go of resentment. And the meditation helps because it gives you a little distance to those thoughts and feelings. Millions and millions of thoughts. Memories from the past that don't even be there. The way they got in was you resented and the memory was formed. Or you tried to emotionally have experiences so that they would overshadow and help you forget what you didn't want to remember. You didn't want to feel conscience. You didn't want to feel guilt. You didn't want to realize your own wrong. So you tried to hide in all these other things. So now all of those, just stand back and watch them. Let them pass and be in the present and go out in the world. And then you go about your business. And then all of a sudden you realize that that person looks like someone that you resented. You see the resentment is silly. But you see it and you let it go. Or you'll be in traffic and all of a sudden you notice you're getting a little irritated at traffic and you look at that. What's that all about? You see the resentment is silly. But you see it and you let it go. And you realize that the irritation is caused by the resentment. It's a remnant of the resentment. You let it go and you become unblocked. And soon those irritations go away. Those bad moods go away. The darkness goes away. And then you know what? Forgiveness is there, waiting for you. So it's all very beautiful. Now you understand why you have to let go of resentment. Now, I want you to go to my website and get the meditation. Give it a try. It's free. It's free. And my website is sheddingshackles.com, sheddingshackles.net, or sheddingshackles.us. Until next time, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Shedding Shackles with your host, Roland Trujillo. Now you can listen to Roland anytime by logging on to www.sheddingshackles.com. You'll find lots of free, helpful information, and you can also order materials or make a donation by using your credit card. Once again, the web address is sheddingshackles.com. Please remember that Shedding Shackles is listener-supported. Thank you.
Shedding Shackles is sponsored by Roland Trujillo.